Hey, habit thrivers. If you're ready to rock your next chapter, this is your place. It's time to live your most fit, fearless, and fabulous life. I believe that our daily habits and routines set the foundation for achieving our dream lives and help us find more passion and clarity with less doubt and uncertainty. So let's get cozy. Grab your planner and your favorite beverage and come along with me on this journey of reclaiming your passions and finding new ones along the way. Hey there, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Habit Thrive podcast, your cozy space for exploring the rituals, routines, and habits that help us step into our me now years with energy, ease, and joy. I'm so glad you're here. So we're still flowing through April, this beautiful season of cleansing and clearing, letting go of what we no longer need and creating space for what nourishes and energizes us. Now, I had planned to keep this month focused on that seasonal theme, but I just returned from 2 weeks of travel, and it brought up some beautiful insights about gratitude, habits, and the power of our routines, especially in this time when many of us are naturally releasing some of our winter patterns and tuning into something lighter and what feels to be more aligned. So I thought I would just pop this short episode in this week to share what came up with me during my travels, and maybe it will resonate with you too, as some of you are still doing your winter traveling right now, and some of you are starting to plan for your summer travels. I have highlighted 3 concepts that arose for me during my travels that speaks to our title today, How Traveling Boosts Gratitude for Your Life and Your Daily Habits. Number 1, how travel creates an opportunity to assess our habits and routines to really shake out what works for us on a daily basis. Number 2, how it provides an opportunity for us to really tune into our bodies and our minds without the clutter of meal prep, laundry, and really, truly putting out daily fires. And the third concept I want to explore today is how travel helps us naturally shift. There's a natural shift that happens in our body towards both gratitude for our travels and huge gratitude for our house and our home. So let's dig in. Number 1, travel really is an opportunity for a pattern, routine, habit, interrupt, or reset. It has this way of interrupting our patterns, whether we're ready for it or not. The simplest things shift. And this is what I noticed for sure, right? Our meals, our movement, our sleep, even what we watch on television, what we listen to, or what we read. And that, again, is exactly what happened to me on this trip. What I noticed about my daily habits and routines. So I'm going to go through a few. And oh my gosh, when I started writing this out, it would have been a much longer podcast, but I really thought I would share the ones that were kind of surprising to me, actually, and ones that I'm certainly working on right now as I'm transitioning from this travel experience. Number 1, I easily shifted to a second cup of coffee, which was actually a cappuccino, instead of my green tea during this trip. I had asked for a green tea latte on one of my first mornings, and it wasn't available, and I thought, oh, okay, you know what, I'm just going to do a second cup. And then I went, oh no, can I make that second cup of cappuccino? And then for the next 2 weeks, I had my 2 cups of coffee, the second cup being the cappuccino. And again, not a huge deal, but when I came home, and so I've been home a few days, I am having a lot of trouble, and I have to admit right now, I have not had that second cup of coffee as my green tea. I have stayed with a second cup of coffee, and I know I don't feel as well when I have 2 cups of coffee, but I'm tired. I'm a little bit travel weary right now, so that second cup of coffee is what I am craving. So I am just noticing this with a curiosity, and my goal is to be shifting to that second cup of coffee being my green tea starting next Monday. I like to do that too, right? Not to change things up too crazy at the end of a week, but plan for the beginning of the next week. So that is still a work in progress. The second thing is, and I actually did not realize this till I opened my eyes in my own bed, and I said to myself, what am I grateful for? What am I looking forward to today? Took a breath in, nice long breath out, and then realized, oh my goodness, I had stopped doing that. During my travels, when I was opening my eyes in the morning, I was not asking myself, what am I grateful for? What am I looking forward to? Truthfully, I totally forgot that I did this as a morning habit. And the strange thing is, even when we returned back earlier this week and we had one night over at a hotel, my eyes open in the morning, they did not go to, what am I grateful for? What am I looking forward to? It was not until I was in my own bed with my sheets, my bed, my pillow, the surroundings, maybe because Jammers was right beside me, that I woke up with my, I'm going to say, tried and true. It's one of my favorite habits to start the day with gratitude and optimism. And for some reason, I have forgotten it. That's just really curious. And so I am back to it. But it has definitely something to do with our surroundings. And we know that around habits. And I am just really excited to be back to it. Because I think, truthfully, I was missing it. But I wasn't actually realizing what I was missing. Number 3, when I was away, I realized I can sleep through the night. I have no trouble sleeping through the night. So on one of our first night back, Jammers, she went to bed early with us. We go to bed early. And this was an aha moment again. We go to bed usually between 8 and 9. Yes, because the alarm goes off for my husband at 5 o'clock and we are up. Very often he wakes up without an alarm as well. But Jammers on the first night, she woke up at 12:30. Okay, so she had a good, 4 hours sleep. So she was ready to get up and go outside. And so the aha moment of this is that when we were away and our kids were looking after Jammers, they were keeping her up later at night. And so guess what? When she went to bed at, let's say, 10 or 10:30, she slept through the night. And so we're in the midst right now of figuring out, we don't want to stay up until 9 or 10 at night, but we are working on some different kind of options around, okay, we get it. She needs to stay up a little bit later so that she can sleep through the night. We interrupted that pattern for us and for Jammers, and now we're working on it. The next one is that this was the absolute best holiday for meditating with the sound of the ocean. Listening to it, watching it, flowing with it, also bringing in again the theme of April of clearing and cleansing. And so I do want to mention that I did a 10-minute meditation. It's on my Facebook page in the Women's Wellness group, so that link is in the show notes. So there's a 10-minute wave meditation there. I'm not entirely sure why it was so powerful. I do know for sure it was much windier this trip over the course of 2 weeks, which was not great for keeping the hat on my head when we went for a walk on the beach. But it really made for strong, powerful waves everywhere that we went, and it was captivating. I would say also that I have been in the habit over the last couple of years of really tuning in to the waves as a meditation. So again, practice makes, maybe not perfect, but it makes it more powerful, I would say, for sure. So have a look or enjoy that wave meditation in my Women's Wellness community. And again, taking that into perhaps any of the trips that you're going on this summer. It is definitely windier all over. It's windier for us at the cottage. There are more opportunities to be listening to the waves. I'm going to say, instead of complaining about the wind, is what I was doing, and saying, okay, there are some real benefits to this. So really enjoyed that. That was an aha moment. Food was also really interesting on this trip. Again, we have been in the habit over the last few years for sure of traveling. So this is, this was not my first rodeo in terms of noticing what I'm eating and drinking for sure. For those of you who listened to my episode on my Future Me letter, I did put in there that, again, I was, going to be going easy on the daily alcohol consumption, which is what happens on trips. We do not drink on a daily basis at all at home, but that shifts during trips. And so, yeah, I'm like, okay, I've done this before, but what's different this time? So of course we went a little bit, we had dry days as well. Actually, I had a couple of dry days as well, which is really wonderful. Even over the course of 2 weeks, you are resetting. But I didn't have dry days in terms of food. Let's put it that way. So this is the first time. So I am in my 60th year, right? So turning 60 in October, 15 years post-menopause. I have never seen that shift in my body in a 2-week period ever. But I am at that stage right now that I am realizing that I kind of had a little bit of an easy ride through those menopausal years. And at 60, 15 years after, my menopause at 45, I am seeing effects of less estrogen, progesterone, just the whole hormonal change. So I'm going to say right now, I am digging into this, ladies. If you are up for it, certainly not on this podcast episode, I've mentioned it before, but over the course of the summer, I am going to be doing more research, talking to more experts, because it's just really, really interesting. And it was very curious again to come out of 2 weeks and to notice the shift in my body in that amount of time. And I'm going to say I did not eat more or drink more or exercise less than I normally do, but that was a noticeable shift. So we're going to dig into that more. That was another aha from the travel perspective. So, but I am saying that is going to change, because when I'm home, again, we do not eat and drink to that level, and really, truly enjoyed it. So there. All right. Moving actually from food into a really interesting thing that arose, and this is a supplement, so again, related to food. I realized that I am sensitive, hugely sensitive actually, in large amounts to ginger. Like, who knew? One morning, I had a ginger and lemon drink. I had some tuna at lunch with ginger. And then in the evening, I actually had a cocktail that had ginger in it as well, right? So I'm like, man, I'm so healthy. I'm scaring myself. I'm all over this ginger. And then I had a stomach attack that night that was very similar to something that happened to me a year ago, now that I can relate it to ginger. And I'm still kind of a little bit in shock. But the interesting thing is that I knew that, and I've mentioned it before, right? I think I mentioned it in last week's episode, like there are some sensitivities, many of us, to ginger and lemon, but this was very intense. And again, it was more ginger than I normally would have in a day, but it really makes things stand out. Like, yes, I mean, I've done the turmeric shots. I love my golden milk and my golden tea. There, I have to go easy on turmeric as well. And so turmeric and ginger together, when that is, let's say, put in with other things during the day, just notice your stomach, notice your digestion. And it's confusing, because we're like, well, ginger's good for our digestion. So you're kind of shaking your head thinking, like, what's up with this? But truly, so just noticing, and I know, I'm going to say, yes, as we age, we do get more sensitive. Our stomachs get more sensitive, for sure. So then, of course, like, ginger is out of my diet for the rest of the trip, and all was good. So I'm still experimenting with that a little bit, but had I not traveled and overdone it, I don't think I would know this quite yet. Okay, so that's ginger. For some of you, it might be turmeric. For some of you, it might be garlic. It might be other things that arise for you on a holiday that you're like, that's really interesting. I'm going to be taking that home. We're going to move into a couple of other things, and this is around exercise. That is, mouth breathing is really, really interesting. So I have mentioned this in my yoga classes. I've talked about it in courses. I'm not sure if I've ever addressed it specifically in a podcast episode, but really noticing when you are out and around. I've talked about it in the fall, for example. Closing your mouth when you are walking, when you are exercising, and using your nose. It's a natural filter. It lubricates. There's more diaphragmatic action as well. It's just breathing in and out through your nose, and as much as you can, not breathing in and out through your mouth. This became particularly important when we were walking along some sides of the road and it was dusty and it was dry, and I'm yelling at my husband from behind, "Close your mouth!" Right? Like as the cars are going by and the dust is flying, and realizing that my mouth was open, that I'm walking and my mouth is open, and as soon as I close my mouth, I can just feel that that sense of relief, not taking this all in. And even when we were hiking, right, we're going up, we had some wonderful hikes in Saba, S-A-B-A, if any of you are interested. Beautiful hikes there. We went up on a hike called Mount Scenery, and that reminder that all of a sudden I'm mouth breathing. Close my mouth, enjoy. You can actually smell more. You can smell the forest. You can smell everything around you when you close your mouth. And so that I put right in my journals, again, my travel notes, and it's just a reminder, because that is a habit that's really, really hard to break. And some of you have heard about that, just related to, sleep apnea and sleeping at night and mouth breathing. But that practice, again, when you don't have everything else going on around you, you're traveling and you're walking and you're exercising and you're like, okay, I'm going to close my mouth here. And just notice, because it will remind you again to do that. So that came up more than once during our holidays. Just a couple more things around our habits of what are we doing just before bed. Stargazing. Love it, because again, the sun was going down quite early. Sunset was 6:30. We had the opportunity for just more stars. And even with us, we're in Northern Ontario and at the cottage, but in the summer, let's say, we're still going to bed early, so we're not doing as much stargazing. And so that opportunity to be away and to have the sunset at 6:30 and still be awake to watch the stars was amazing. And then a couple shared with us an app called Sky View, which is amazing. It does the drawings of what stars you're looking at and the planets that are above you and below you. Honest to goodness, addictive, amazing. And another benefit, again, of talking to people, because that's a whole other podcast in terms of how, antisocial people are on holidays now. Trying to talk to somebody at the airport and they look at you like you have two heads. So that's really, really interesting. But this concept again of sharing apps and sharing information and sharing when, what restaurants people have been to, that was amazing. That was a huge benefit. And so what came out of this was this app called Sky View, which I will be using from this point on. So stargazing is interesting because it's connected to, again, that evening routine. Really missed my baths. I have to tell you that as well. I so enjoyed in the last couple of nights here having my oil bath with, my Epsom salts and my oils, and oh my gosh, I miss those. And it just makes you again realize how that just helps you release into sleep at night to let go of the day. But what snuck into the evening there was CNN, because there was just very little on TV. And so we would do our stargazing, and that was a little earlier in the evening. And because of what's going on in the world right now, CNN it's addictive. Again, you want to just know what's going on. You're wanting to check into it, and then all of a sudden we're watching that before bed. Not every single night, but enough that I notice, like, oh my gosh, we cannot do this. But that fight just to say, this is just crazy. I can't believe what's going on, and then you're watching. And so we're in that place right now that as much as I talk about, turn the screens off and social media, it is such a challenging time right now. And I felt that pull more than any other time that I have, certainly on holidays. And so we are literally letting go of CNN as we are home, and that whole habit, absolutely, of letting that go before we go to bed. But what I did realize is that it affected my nervous system. It was just that, again, that confirmation, no news before bed, period. There's a reason that we do that, and it's a strong reason, and I am so happy that we don't do that when we are home. Even though we are still, CNN is still on at noon, it needs to go off. Those are habits, again, that are really curious, and they came up during travel. So we are going to let that go. So I just want to again give one more shout out for oils that wind down in the evening. I didn't bring oils with me on the trip because, again, too much oil to bring. I'm not doing coconut oil right now, which is more cooling in the summer. I'm still with my sesame oil. I'm still on my face and my body, and just being careful with that in terms of travel and sun exposure and all of that. But I love it when I get home. So I really, really, again, notice how it nourishes my body, my heart, and my soul. And it's a ritual that really just lets go of the noise of the day. So that is, again, some things as I noticed going through. They were aha moments. They were around some of my daily habits. Now, most particular to my body, this is really, really interesting, and I'm still playing with this, is that I stay with my standing yoga and my Pilates. I stay with my movement every day. We do a fair bit of walking, but what I missed, and I noticed in the second week of the holiday, is I was starting to get quite stiff. And realizing that I was missing my 2 full sessions a week. I do at least 40 minutes to an hour of a very good stretch on the ground, on the floor. And that was missing in that first week of my holiday. So when I had my first experience of doing a longer yoga stretch in the sand, I had my long pants on and my sweatshirt. It was early morning, down in the sand for a good hour, doing all of my favorite hamstrings and glutes and inner thigh and oh my gosh, amazing. And so that was an aha moment for me, and I love it, right? I love all these short, 10-minute mindful movements, all of that. They are great for maintaining for a short period of time, but for me, I need to do a longer, sustained yoga and Pilates for at least an hour, a couple of times a week. And as soon as I came back to that, my body reacted quite quickly. So that was an aha moment. And again, I'm happy to report when I'm back, that happens automatically. So finally, gratitude through contrast. The beautiful thing is, travel creates contrast. And contrast creates clarity and more gratitude. So again, laying under the stars at night, that it was just an immense sense of gratitude. Having that slowing down in the evening, welcoming that stillness, right? And really noticing the contrast of going between that to watching CNN, and really in that moment making a mental note that that is something that is going to be gone out of my habit when I return home. So it really has made me come back with a new appreciation for the rhythms that I've built at home. The routines that hold me, that center me, and energize me. And truthfully, I realized I don't want to travel a heck of a lot more than I'm actually traveling right now. I'm a homebody. I travel enough to get enough adventure, right? To shake things up a little, to actually connect and engage more with my husband, right? That is always amazing, and appreciate that. And it seems to be just, again, right now in this stage of my life, just the right amount. That was really cool. And I am so grateful for that. So to come full circle and conclude this episode, this reflection, these realizations, they do fit beautifully into our April theme of cleansing and clearing, because part of that is noticing what we have picked up in our travels that serve us, but we're also able to see what is no longer serving us. So this trip has helped me to see what I want to carry forward. So green tea, for sure, starry skies, my oils, my baths, my long and wonderful yoga stretch sessions, and what I want to leave behind. Screen time, overindulging perhaps, but again, okay for a short period of time. and really, again, hunkering down on what makes me feel wonderful. So maybe, as we're all clearing out the remnants of winter, physically, emotionally, energetically, we can use moments like travel, right? And it can just even be a weekend away. I really want to stress that. It doesn't have to be a week away or 2 weeks away. It doesn't have to be a whole winter away. It can be a weekend away to really listen. What is your body telling you? What habits, as you're away on that weekend, right? Could be your pillow. What habits are you missing? What can you gently let go of? And what do you want to bring back with even a little bit more love and intention? And that, again, has really spoken to me. So I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If any of this resonated with you, again, I love it when you tell me that you're just, you're taking some notes, whether or not you're writing them down or mental notes, and sharing these episodes with friends, with family who are along the same path as you are. And if you want to dig in even a little bit more with habits, routines, and rituals, remember to have a peek in the show notes for my link to the sampler of my 2025 spring and summer planner and tracker. So that, again, is going to be going on a sale soon, so I'll keep you posted on that. So until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and always come back to what helps you feel at home in your space and in yourself. Bye for now. If you love this episode, I guarantee you're going to love exploring all the amazing opportunities that await us in reclaiming our awesomeness together. So come on over to my Facebook group, Women's Wellness Community for women wanting to rock their me now years. Or let's connect over on Instagram at Habit Guru 365 and make the Habit Guru podcast your healthy new habit.